So there is not really a difference. The words can be used interchangeably. So basically what we are doing, we are introducing in your body antigens. Some of those antigens, they have been weakened, they have been killed and placed in the form of a vaccine. So they are introduced into a person's system. Now, our bodies are made up of what we call white blood cells, which are basically the soldiers of our bodies to protect, to help build up our defenses. So when this vaccine is injected into the person's body, your white blood cells identify it and it prepares a defense against it. So in the unlikely event now you come into contact with the real disease, your body is already armed to fight against it. So sometimes people will complain that the children get a fever after vaccination. And I normally say to them, this is a good thing if a person is vaccinated and you get a fever, because it says that your immune system is functional. Because a system basically is your body's response to an infection. It is saying something is wrong in there and I am dealing with it. So a fever in response to vaccination, we normally say to parents is good. But we have various cooling measures that we take because we do not want it to get beyond a certain point.
So a fever is good in the sense that it's a sign. It lets you know that something definitely is wrong.
Something, and it is working. So you get it, so your body realize, boy, hey, this was something foreign applied to my system, so it is preparing the defense mechanisms that needs to be in place.
You want to add something to this, nurse? You're the nurse?
No, what she's saying
Okay.
is correct.
So your body
Correct.
create like a protective, like a defense somewhat.
Mechanism, yes.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so why are vaccines important? I want to look at this. You just mentioned it obviously, but as opposed to children and older adults, I want to look at that as well. Is there a difference?
Not really, because the aim of vaccination is to prevent diseases, and there are certain diseases we refer to as vaccine preventable diseases. So a lot of us in our lifetime, we may never have seen what measles looks like. We may not have seen polio. We may not have seen mumps, and all those are a result of effective vaccinations over the years. Now,
And these were very common before. I remember back in the day, mumps in particular.
and not very many people, because in my lifetime I have never seen mumps. I have never seen mumps, and all these can be alluded to effective vaccination programs over the years. However, what we are seeing now, people read stuff because there's a lot of information all over the place, and unfortunately we do not read from credible sources. And then we take all sorts of things now, and we are seeing that persons are now having some hesitancy as it relates to vaccines. And because of that, our coverages are dropping. So that is why this theme is very important to us. Your decision makes a difference, because your decision to get vaccinated and to get your children vaccinated would mean for Dominica that we have increased vaccine coverages so that our country will be protected. Your decision not to get vaccinated harms the country. And I must pause here to say a special thank you to the government of Dominica, because the vaccines are very expensive. Vaccine comes at a very high cost. However, the vaccines are procured by the state and it is offered free of charge. And all this is done in an effort to ensure that we have high coverages.
And I'm also thinking by getting vaccinated as well, you can protect yourself and avoid spreading preventable diseases to other people in the community.
This is very
at school
correct.
as well, and other places as well.
This is correct. This is correct. And then even more so now, traveling, ease of travel is there for us. And the very way people move from place to place, so do diseases. And the sad fact about it, you may need a visa to go to America. But guess what? Vaccines need no visas. So you pack in your suitcases, you pack in your stuff, and there the diseases, I mean, they need no visas. So they jump in your suitcase, or they may be on your clothing or some part of you, and you travel from one country to the next, and you carry those diseases with you. So if you are not immunized, if you are not vaccinated against those diseases, it is very easy that you get it. And then, growing up, we heard our grandparents say that an ounce of precaution is better than a pound of cure. So I always say to people, prevention.
Yes.
So when we speak of vaccination and immunization, we're talking about prevention.
Yeah, definitely. So Nurse, let me get your take on this. What we're discussing now, in reference to vaccination. Give us your take on what you have observed in recent time as well, and especially as you mentioned that like if you're not, someone is not interested in getting vaccinated, what they will do essentially if they are sick is spread diseases or whatever to people in the community and even at schools. So what is your take on this, and how concerned are you about what you're saying? Yes, Nurse.
Yes, so it is very concerning. And as Ms. Anatole was just saying, when you take vaccines, you protect yourself and also others. Now, there are some persons who cannot take vaccines for certain reasons. Maybe they're immunocompromised or have other conditions, probably allergies and stuff, and they cannot take the vaccines. So when you take the vaccines, in turn, you give them that protection, what we call herd immunity as well.
So immunocompromised. If you are immunocompromised, obviously you cannot take the vaccination.
Certain ones.
Some people tell you for religious beliefs they do not want to take vaccines.
Yes, and that is something that we have been seeing a lot of.
Do you find people just coming to say that they want to be vaccinated because they found out that they were not vaccinated when they were baby? Do you get that? Do you?
Yes, we get that a lot, especially when they're going to get their visas or probably when they're going to school, like universities and stuff. They do come in at that time.
Because normally when someone would go to the hospital or maybe for healthcare anywhere, so your blood pressure check would be taken, and some other, your vitals and some other things like that. In reference to vaccination, would the nurse ask the person who came in, maybe not a patient as yet, but would the nurse ask, are you vaccinated?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We do.
Okay. All right. So what is the difference though, between vaccination and immunization? Is there a stark difference, or is it relatively the same? I know Ms. Anatole, you mentioned it earlier, but I want us to go back to this in terms of the difference. What distinguishes vaccination from immunization?
There is not really any difference, as Anatole was saying earlier, and they are used interchangeably. So vaccination is a process of introducing a vaccine into the body, and immunization is basically the same thing, where the body develops the immunity or it builds the defense, as Ms. Anatole was saying earlier, towards certain diseases that you may or may not be exposed to further on in the future.
So with immunization, you get the vaccine and you become immune to the disease following vaccination.
Yes.
All right, so I have it correct. Okay. Let us look at what's happening in Dominica for the week of activities, or is there a week of activities? How are we observing vaccination week with this important theme that we have? What is happening apart from you being on talking point right now? What other programs are there to ensure that the populace is well aware about, the importance of vaccination?
So, as I said earlier, our goal is to catch up. We're campaigning this year because from the COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen drop in our vaccine coverages, and we have had a lot of vaccine hesitancy. So we have since moved from coverages of 90 and 95% to all the way down to the 70s. And in order for us to have that herd immunity that the Seraphine spoke about, we need our coverages to be at least up to 95%. So for this week, within the various health districts in Dominica, we will be going around to do that catch-up campaign. So for example, this afternoon from 4 p.m., the Portsmouth Health Team, they are going to be in the community of Penville, going around on the district vehicle with a PA system, doing public sensitization and offering the vaccines to persons who are interested. the Roseau catchment area, which is one of our heaviest areas as well, most populated, I should say. They will be having on the 30th of April a vaccination session at the Public Service Union building on Valley Road. So we are encouraging persons from the Valley, Roseau and environs, because a lot of times people say, you know, I don't have the time to come all the way to Newtown because the health center is all the way to Newtown now. So we are bringing it closer to them now. And also on the 3rd of May, which is a Saturday, we do not normally open on a Saturday, but we are having that extended hour. So persons may say, I go to work, I do not get time off from work. So from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the 3rd of May, Saturday, the Funkole Health Center will be open to provide that service. And thereafter, we will be having extended hours on Saturdays, so we will inform the general public so they can arrange. We also will be doing visits to daycares and preschools. We'll be doing house-to-house campaigns, going to people, so those who cannot come, we go to them. And sometimes even those who can come and they refuse to come, we realize it is our responsibility to go to them because it is a collective effort to keep Dominica safe.
So you'll be going throughout the communities and you'll be going to preschools, you mentioned, and daycare centers.
And daycare centers.
But generally though, in terms of your the service that you provide as a nurse, healthcare provider, do you all generally go to schools as well? Are there programs set up at various schools, like the primary school level in particular?
Yes, we do. So particularly, and my colleague, Miss Seraphine, will allude to that when she will be speaking of the various vaccines that we have available in Dominica. So we do go to the grade 6 class where we offer the diphtheria and tetanus polio vaccines as a booster dose because they would have already received it as children, as babies. So we go there to offer them a booster dose. And also from 2019, we have introduced what we call the HPV vaccine, which is the human papilloma virus vaccine. This is a vaccine that provides protection against cancers, various cancers. So for the young ladies, cancers of the cervix. For the young men, cancers of the penises. And for both sexes, anal cancer, throat cancers. So we are encouraging parents to accept those vaccines for the children because it works. We started in 2019, but there were other Caribbean countries who started long before us. So after a few years down the line, we can conduct research because we know that medicine is dynamic. So we can conduct some research to really see if there's been a decrease in our cancer rates and deaths in particularly from cancer.
The HPV vaccine, is there an age range? What is the criteria? What age range do you have to fall within?
Okay, so we target the children in grade 6, which normally they are between the ages of 10 to 13, 14 years. And the reason for that is we want to catch the children hopefully before they started having sexual intercourse, because the vaccine works better that way because the HPV is a sexually transmitted infection. So we are hoping to catch them during that age group because the vaccine will be more efficient. The efficacy of the vaccine is better at that age range.
But what if a child is like 15 years but is not sexually active, or 16 years? Will it still work? Because you mentioned the age range is 10 to 13.
It will still work, but then because of the cost associated to the vaccine, we provide it to the school children at that age. So we normally go in the grade 6. So if a parent wants, it's also available in private practice. However, it is also very expensive. It is a costly vaccine. But we trying to provide it during that time. So that is why we encourage parents, because every year we go out to the schools to have the children vaccinated. We do educational sessions with the teachers and with the parents to let them know what is it that we are offering, the protection it provides, and to get their consent and to have the children vaccinated.
How is this vaccine administered? Is it like a one-off shot? Or?
Yes. So the one we offer is a one shot, and there are quite a number of strains out there. But the one we use is a quadracil. So that means it protects against 4 most common types of cancers. So the one we have, it protects against the type 6, 11, 16, and 18.
You call it a quadrasil?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the one that we offer. It has 4 strains. There are many different strains, but when research was done, it was found out that within the Caribbean, these were the ones that were those were the culprit, so to speak, for the cancer causing. So this is the one we offer. So it's just one single dose is enough to protect the child.
That's interesting. And you said we started this in 2019.
2019.
Because in recent years and even all now, we have a lot of cancer cases, a lot of cases. So if there's success in this, a lot of people go for this, especially HPV vaccine, we can determine down the line exactly what was the cause for this increase. A lot of people with cancer in Dominica, especially women, cervical issues and all of that. So that's very, very important.
Yes, it is.
But I parents asking about this. Do you find a lot of people, coming for information about this, asking for the vaccine?
Some do, and unfortunately,
And how much are we doing this at
some
schools,
don't.
though? Okay.
And this is the hurtful part about it, because we as healthcare providers, we know the benefits that there is to this vaccine. So we spend a lot of time doing educational sessions at the PTAs. We do one-on-one with parents because persons have various questions. And it is good that when people ask questions so that we can clear misconceptions. So we give information in order to allow persons to make informed decisions.
You mentioned earlier in terms of accessing information, that same information that you mentioned. I mean, you can go on the internet, but you will get so much information, and if you're not inclined in terms of health and all of that, you might be overwhelmed, and not even go on the right course. So it's important to always seek advice from a nurse, a medical practitioner on things like that. Interesting. Vaccination Week 2025, April 26th to the 3rd of May. That's what we're discussing. Make your decision, or your decision rather, makes a difference. Definitely makes a difference. And we're looking at vaccines. We're looking at what is happening throughout the week of activities. As we said earlier, I think Vaccination Week came about from PAHO, Pan American Health Organization, and Dominica. Every year we are partnering with this initiative. We are ensuring that we give respect to this, and every year there's a theme and a week of activities, and really the main emphasis is to encourage people to not just get vaccinated but know more about the importance of vaccination. And we have 2 nurses here with us. Dominica, of course, has made notable progress in controlling communicable diseases, but it's still a fight. It's still a challenge out there, and the more people can know, the better. By the way, you could call us 1-800-327-448-3284, 448-3281, 448-3279. There's a question you may have, or you want to clear something up, feel free to give us a call. We have 2 nurses who are well trained, and they know what they are doing. They know what they're about. Let us look at, I know I mentioned earlier the older people, the older adults. How important is it for them to get vaccinated? At maybe say like a 90-year-old, people like that can get vaccinated even at that age, 80-year-old?
Yes, they can. It is very important for the older persons to get vaccinated against these diseases, because as we know, as you grow older, the immune system gets weaker. It doesn't function as at its optimum. So as we grow older, it is wise that we take vaccines to help to protect ourselves and to prevent diseases from affecting us in a grave way, because elderly persons as well as the young persons would be at most risk of getting the severe forms of different vaccine preventable diseases.
Nurse Carbon, you mentioned earlier about some of the vaccines, like you mentioned rubella, I think diphtheria, you mentioned as well, tetanus and things like that. What again are some of the common vaccines that we provide?
Okay, so Nurse Seraphine will be the one dealing with that.
Yes, Nurse
part of it,
Seraphine.
Okay, so we have a whole list of vaccines that we give to the persons. We have, starting at birth and all the way up until they come to ask for it. So one of the first vaccines that we administer is the hepatitis B vaccine, and this vaccine is administered immediately after birth. So once the child is born, once we get the consent after providing the parents with all the information that they require to make a decision, the children are administered their hepatitis B vaccines.
Hepatitis B.
Yes.
So even before that, you'd find out from the parents if they want the child to be vaccinated.
Yes. So in when the mother is pregnant and they come to the district midwife, and the midwife would be the one taking care of them during the pregnancy, this is some of the information that they do provide everyone with, and let them know that it is something that once they consent, the babies can receive it in the labor ward.
Okay,
Yes.
so we look at the others,
Yes.
and follow up is also important as well, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
when the mother takes the child to, say, a health facility, the follow up is necessary, obviously, as we
Yes.
said. So
So-
you have to take another shot sometimes.
Right,
You
so
know,
let's
you have to go
continue.
and get
Let's
a follow. Yeah, go
continue
ahead.
with
You are
this.
the practitioner, so you know. Okay, go
Okay,
ahead.
so hepatitis B is the first one we give at birth, and it protects against hepatitis B, which is a disease that can affect the liver and lead to liver cirrhosis, and also it can lead to liver cancer. So that's the first vaccine. Then the second vaccine that is administered is BCG. BCG, it protects against tuberculosis, and also it can protect against meningitis or infections in the brain. This vaccine is administered to the babies from birth up to 1 year. So the child has up to a year to receive their BCG vaccine. The BCG vaccine is the one that we give on the right arm that forms a little scar that everybody has this small scar on the right arm. So this is the vaccine that causes that one.
From birth to 1 year, so it won't be needed again throughout somebody's lifespan. No. Okay.
You won't.
All right. So hepatitis, look at BCG.
Right. So then at 2 months, the children receive what we call the pentavalent vaccine. And pentavalent means it consists of 5 different vaccines. So instead of the children would have to be getting 5 pricks, they will only be getting 1 prick of the pentavalent. And it protects against 5 different diseases. So we have diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, hepatitis B, so here we have hepatitis B again, getting a second shot, and Haemophilus influenza type B. So that is what we give at 2 months. Then at 4 months, they receive another shot of the pentavalent vaccine, and at 6 months, they receive their third shot of the pentavalent vaccines. Along with the pentavalent vaccine, at 2 months, they also receive what we call the IPV, which is a polio vaccine. So it protects against poliomyelitis. Then at 4 months, they also get another shot of the IPV, which is an injected polio vaccine. And then at 6 months, they get another polio vaccine, but this one is taken via their mouth or orally. And they all protect against polio.
That explains why back in the day we do not see much diseases. I'm a child of the 70s, so I know about mumps, and other things used to have. There was a time when you see a lot of children with boils, a lot of boils on the skin. We used to call it, I think, carbuncle or something like that, and a lot of blisters. We even had head lice, and all those things. And we're not seeing it again for a number of years, and that explains the importance of vaccinations. Getting vaccinated, obviously. At that time, probably we were not so rigorous. We don't have a rigorous vaccination program, but now a lot has been done, and we're seeing results, right? Obviously.
Yes, we are.
A lot of people, of course, are not showing up with some of the things that they would have shown up with years ago.
Right.
And that's very good. That explains why, our healthcare system, as I said earlier, it's a model that a lot of countries have followed, and we continue to do well.
That is true. Yeah.
You want to talk about this? How much strides that we have made in recent times?
Before we even progress to the strides and the other vaccines that we provide, in June of this year, we hope to introduce a new vaccine. It is not really a new vaccine per se, but one of the things that we observe and parents complained about is the fact that, especially at 2 and 4 months, when the children come, they have to get 2 pricks, which is the pentavalent and the inactivated polio. So a lot of times parents would get emotional because their children are crying. They get 2 pricks, and they would say, can't you all combine the vaccine into one? So, it can be less painful for the child and all of that. So what we have done in going to meetings, you go to workshops, so you make the various recommendations that you get from your staff. And thankfully, we were listened to, and we have what is called the hexavalent vaccine.
The hexavalent.
Hexavalent. So this is now a combination of the pentavalent and the IPV. So instead of the child now getting 2 pricks, they get only 1. So that we hope will help.
But the symptoms would have what? Would be more?
No, it's the same because it's
Okay.
just the pentavalent and the inactivated combined in one dose now. So instead of giving the child 2 pricks to get the same vaccine, they can now receive the vaccine with 1 prick, 1 dose.
Interesting, because I mean,
So
I've
I
gone.
know parents
yes.
are going to like that.
Yes, I've gone through this with my children, and I know it was never an easy thing. But if you tell me there's 1 prick, we'll take care of those. That's good. That's good.
Yes.
But as of June, you say we're
Yes,
going to
as
start this in
June.
June.
Yes, so we still have some pentavalent in stock. So we want to use up the pentavalent that we now have in stock, and then on the completion of it, then we start off with the hexavalent.
In terms of storage, we have a good storage system, as you
Yes,
mentioned in
we
stock.
do. We have a very, very good storage system for our vaccines at the Central Medical Stores Hospital. We have, and even at the district level as well, almost every health center in Dominica has a vaccine fridge. Some of them are solar operated, some of them are electrically generated. And we also have backup, so we have storage boxes. So in case there is a power outage for those without solar power, or even those with solar power, and then there's an impending storm coming where we have to remove our panels, we have boxes that we can secure our vaccines in and keep them safe.
So the main storage is in Roseau,
In
but
Roseau.
you distribute to the various health districts.
Yes. So what happens, the public health nurse, it would be the one responsible to order the vaccines, to get the vaccines through the district pharmacy. So the public health nurse would know how many vaccines she needs, how much vaccine she needs. She relay that to her pharmacies, who will in turn relay to the central medical stores, and then we procure the vaccines from them.
So it's a process that works well.
Yes, very
Everybody
well.
has their job, and you administer this efficiently.
Yes, we do.
In terms of the shelf life, though, like, does it vary for the
Yes.
vaccines?
So various vaccines have various shelf lives. So that is why when we, at least once a year, between June to September of every year, the EPI manager is the person responsible on behalf of Dominica to procure all vaccines that would be needed. So it's a process that we go through via the revolving fund with PAHO. We order those vaccines. So most times we have a shelf life of between 18 months to 24 months for vaccines. So we try not to overstock so that we will not have wastage. Hence the reason why we encourage parents, please, we are pleading with you more so this week, take the children to get vaccinated. Because the vaccine comes to you free at a cost, but it costs the state money. And it is not nice that we go through that effort to get the vaccines, and then at the end it is not used, it is expired, and then it has to be incinerated. The vaccines were not procured to be incinerated, it was to protect immunity. Because one vaccine preventable disease to our shore is one too many. One too many. Even now, those of us who have been following up with the news, we see of that measles outbreak that is going on in Texas. And unfortunately, 2 children have already died. And from the records, it shows that these children were unvaccinated. So vaccination saves lives. See vaccination as an act of love towards your child. That is our plea, that is our cry to parents this week and beyond.
See vaccination as an act of love towards your child. This is profound. Earlier you mentioned so vaccination can be an injection or it can be taken orally, right? But is there an option, or some vaccines have to be administered like with an injection?
Yes, so some, they come, how the manufacturer, they decide which routes that the vaccine should be administered. So some of them, we take them by injection, some of them we take by mouth, and there are also vaccines that are available through nasal sprays as well. So the manufacturer determines the route of administration. Yes.
There are some vaccines that are taken and people tell you that it makes them feel really sick.
Yes.
Really, really sick. So even after you take a vaccine, you may have to take some, like, maybe some pills or something to get better.
Yes.
That happens, right?
Yes.
Side effects as well.
Right. So side effects, and again, as we were talking earlier, the immune response is being built. So that's one of the reasons why the vaccine causes you to get these mild side effects that are common. And you can easily treat them with, if it's pain, you take paracetamol. If it's fever, you take a paracetamol as well.
I know when COVID-19 read its ugly head, we were talking more about vaccines. People more open to this because we had to go and get vaccinated and things like that. Do you find a lot of people talking about vaccinations? Do you get that? Feel that, people are aware about the importance of vaccination? Enough?
Yes, they are aware. They are aware. And again, as we say, we provide information as much as we possibly can. And there is also information out there on CDC and WHO and PAHO sites. So persons are aware of the vaccines. And that's the reason why some of them make the decisions to take it or not to take it.
What would you like to see, though, generally, a small country, of course, we can, do our best to navigate the challenges that confront us so we can, manage our healthcare. What would you like to see, though, say 5 years from now, in terms of vaccination? What is the scope like for you? For any one of you, or I'd like both of you to answer this, in terms of the vision, because, of course, you have been involved in this for a while now as nurses, providing primary care, healthcare in general. What would you like to see in, say, 5 years from now? We're not even going that far, like 10 years. We're just looking at 5 years from down the line. When you look at what's happening the world over, you mentioned measles, in other countries, in Texas, and 2 people died. What would you like to see for Dominica?
So for me, as the EPI manager, I would like to see that we maintain high vaccine coverages, because it's by so doing we can protect our population. And as the Seraphine said earlier on, there may be certain persons for whatever reasons that cannot be vaccinated because they're immunocompromised. They have some sicknesses or illnesses that prevents them from taking the vaccine. So if those of us who can take it are immunized, it provides that immunity for those of them who cannot. So sustained vaccine coverages, improved vaccine coverages, that is what we want to see. And that is why we go. So even when the parents will tell us, no, we do not want our children to be vaccinated, we do not take no as an answer. We will still come, we will talk to you, we will educate you, we will give you information. If it means that we have to come at your home, we do that. Sometimes we have to meet with families and discuss, hear their questions, but we want to ensure that we have improved and sustained vaccine coverages. So we do not want it high 1 year and then the next year it goes all the way down. We want it maintained because we never know when it may get to our shores, God forbid.
So you're the manager for Dominica on the extended program on immunization, right?
Yes, ma'am.
How effective is the collaboration with the other regional countries? Do you have like a close-knit, practice that works well?
Yes, we do. So we do networking more or less with the other EPI managers in the other countries. So we will share, we have workshops, we have seminars, and even for various group chats, we will find out from each other, hey, this is what is going on in my country, and we'll get insights from different people. This is what happened, this is what we tried, so try to see if it will work for you and that sort of thing.
So one country can learn from another country.
Can learn. And also, sometimes if our shipment of vaccines are late, we borrow from each other. So for example, if I'm expecting a shipment of vaccines and my vaccine's not here, I say, hello, can anybody borrow me 1,000 doses of this particular vaccine? And they will say, okay, yes, we can get it. So we do the necessary arrangements, we get it, and then when we get our stock, we give it back in return. So we have that collaboration going on.
Regionally, what would you say about the health system? I mean, as I said earlier, Dominica was served as a model for many years. And, a lot of countries still look at Dominica into what we are doing. Regionally, how do you look at the region in terms of the health system and the health care that we provide as a unit?
So for us in Dominica, we are still being looked as a model. at as a model. So when we would go to our workshops, our seminars, and we do our presentations, people, it is like always a wow moment for them. How do you all get to do this? How do you all manage in doing those things? And so during those times, we learn from each other as well. And then most of us in the region, we share the same basically challenges. We have the same challenges because sometimes when we see it, oftentimes when you're in a situation, you figure out you are the only one. But sometimes when you sit and you listen, you hear other people are going through the same thing as you are. But what makes the difference is the approach that you take towards dealing with those challenges. And I must say, as a country, we are doing very well. And I want to say a special thank you to all nurses throughout Dominica, especially the district nurses, because these are the nurses that are more involved in ensuring that our children are vaccinated. We go the extra mile. Sometimes we go out on days that we not regular working days, we stay extended working hours, and to our public health aides, they are the ones going out there to find out the defaulters, the people who are not coming, to let us know, nurse so and so is not taking the child to the health center. So then we go together. So it is a collaborative approach. So I just want to say a big thank you and to shout out to all the nurses and the public health aides in Dominica at this time.
All right, I'll give you a tap on the back. That's of course a nurse. I mean, that's a very important profession, And sometimes the recognition doesn't really come. It's not enough. But we always have to remember that profession, the job of a nurse or healthcare provider. Wow, I think we need to salute you all more. There was a time, of course, when go back to COVID, the recognition was high. At that time, we were seeing you were seeing the importance of the health practitioners, of the nurses. But I think we need to always keep this up. Sometimes the negativity comes, yes, when it has to come, maybe it will come. But I think overall we should look at the importance, of that profession, and saving the lives of people as well. So let me just say, even before we end, hats off to you all for what you are doing. As you said, you have no regrets. From the beginning, you told me you have no regrets, and that speaks volumes. That says a lot. Long nights, leaving your family, in times of disaster. And a nurse has to be there. So hats off to you for what you all are doing. And as you make us understand that our decision makes a difference. So you're telling us to get vaccinated. It could simply be that, yes, we have a week of activities, and you could, like the system, they could say, well, who cares? Because every year it's on. But Dominica places effort in this, and I really would like to see people, take this as something that is very, very important. Okay, so let us look at some of the communities as well, or the health districts. You mentioned the nurses, they are doing a wonderful job, but I'm sure there are challenges as well. What are some of the challenges that confront, the practice? What are you seeing in recent time?
Okay, so with social media, one of our greatest challenges in the district is the social media and the different social media influencers, persons who make it a point of duty, to sway persons from getting vaccinated. So that is one of our main issues, and I think that is one of the main reasons for the increased vaccine hesitancy that we've been seeing.
Couldn't lately. It be, brother? You say they sway persons from getting vaccinated. Or do you think that we are at a time where, because of social media, a lot of people, in terms of what is on social media, a lot of people are just even afraid to, seek healthcare and things like that, even apart from just being vaccinated?
Oh, we can't say that, because it's a lot of information, and everybody has a phone or a tablet or a computer. Everybody has access to the internet, and then sometimes we don't use it to do, the things that would probably benefit us in a more positive light. So we can say yes, it does affect all aspects of health, not just vaccines.
Any other challenge? No, Sanatol, you want to chime in?
So as well, our terrain in Dominica, because we know Isle of Beauty, hills and valleys. So based on where people
truly hills and valleys,
we have a lot of it. So sometimes, especially we see for the people who are not coming, We have to go and get them. And sometimes when you go, these situations that you face, people have their dogs and they know you coming, so they will lose the dogs. I remember last year, vaccination week of the Americas, Ernest and I practically got lost because we were going, not even knowing where we're going, but we know that there is a child in a particular area that is unvaccinated. And the vehicle, while we have district vehicles available to us, the vehicle got to a certain point where it could have reached and we had to walk the rest. So there we are walking.
And you have to walk with your maybe your
with your
storage unit
flask,
or whatever you. Okay.
everything with us. And at one point in time, both of us in the bush, and we are saying, but are we in the right place? So I say, anyway, we come this far, we are going. It's two of us. If we get lost, at least we together, we have company. And then we heard a dog barking in the distance. So we said, okay, we are in the right track. So we got to the home and we stayed outside. The place was gated, of course. And we called and we called and we called. And we know there were persons in there. And they refused to come out. The dog was even coming out from under the fence to charge at us. So at that point, I had to say to the nurse, you know what? Our safety and security at this point is very important. So we need to go back. We know the persons know because the area has cameras. So we knew they saw that we were there. But they didn't come. So sometimes we can meet up with those kinds of behaviors. Sometimes we meet with aggression from persons because, oh, but I tell you, I do not want the vaccine, and you still keep coming.
Wow.
But we still have to be persistent because, as I said earlier on, we want to ensure that we have those high coverages. So if a person tell you no, and sometimes when they tell you no, as nurse said, it's because they went on social media. They did not even go to a credible site, and there is a lot of misinformation going on out there. So they grab onto that. Or you ask them, why are you not vaccinating the child? Oh, my friend told me something. What did your friend say to you? Because we want to know what your friend said so that we can clear myths and disbeliefs. And sometimes they cannot even explain why. So all those are some of the challenges that we face, but yet still we are not daunted by that. We push forward and we go because we know the importance there is to it and the benefits most probably that there is to it. And you know, sadly, the same people who give you trouble, they do not want to get vaccinated. When they have to go to America,
I was just about to ask this. Yeah.
when they have to go to America, they will come and knock your door in the night. Nurse, I need to be vaccinated. Because they realize it is a requirement that they need. So now they come in to get it. We also have persons out there, as the Seraphine said, who discourage people from being vaccinated. And I want to send out a strong call to these people today to say, if for whatever reasons you choose not to get vaccinated, do not dissuade another person from doing so. You may have your personal beliefs, you may have your religious beliefs, but we want to encourage you, do not dissuade other persons. Let people take the information that we give and give them the opportunity so that they can make their own informed decisions.
People dissuade people. That's interesting. And I know, just going back to COVID time as well, we're looking at, in fact, there was a lot of talk about vaccine efficacy as well. And it goes back as well. I mean, of course, the World Wide Web is there, the social media is there as well. People always read. And but you have to be careful as to what you take in. And if you're not sure about something, you can seek help, seek more advice. Let somebody break it down for you so you can understand exactly what you're reading. And sometimes people have their preconceived, notion. They have the idea. They have their thing. It's like they have it down. It's like they are the professional, And I know sometimes that can be a challenge as well, because sometimes I've seen people want to have a debate with a health practitioner and say, no, that is not good for me, and so that happens. But we have to understand, as we're talking about vaccines, the importance of getting vaccinated. Don't wait for when you have to travel to go to rush to the health centers or the hospital and tell them that you want to be vaccinated, whereas probably you at an age where you could have done it earlier, long ago. Maybe if you realize that you were not vaccinated when you were a baby, but of course you grow up and you realize you have to read up about it, and if you're not sure, as I said, seek help from a nurse practitioner or a healthcare practitioner and get vaccinated. Don't wait for the last minute. Any other advice we can look at in terms of what you would like to tell people, because we are talking about the challenges that confront you all. You spoke about you going right wherever. We talk about the rivers, valleys, hills, and mountains, and that dog. Any other challenges that you all face in your line of duty in your work?
Okay, not a challenge, but just a small bit of advice that I wanted to give. As you stated earlier about don't wait until you need it to get a visa also. And also don't wait until you actually need the vaccine. So don't wait when a dog bites you or when you go to the farm and you get a cutlass cut from your cutlass to come running for the tetanus booster shots, because vaccines don't work like that. You have to have it in your system so that it's all your system already builds a defense. But if you get an injury and you come to the clinic to get a vaccine to help to protect you against that injury, you will not get that protection that you need. So even if you get a cutlass cut today and you come to the health center to get a tetanus, yes, we may administer a tetanus shot to you, but if you have to get a tetanus from that injury, you will still get it because the vaccine would not have enough time to provide that immunity for you. So this is the reason why it's something that you have to have in your system and not wait for when you need it to come and get it.
I was also thinking, I'm sure you all see a lot of bad practices or learn about a lot of bad practices as well. For instance, maybe a farmer would go to his farm not properly clothed and then he gets himself, probably injured or something. So generally, people are still not, how would I say it, adhering to the regulations in a lot of professions, people who are auto mechanics, farmers and other people like that. I'm sure you see a lot of this happening too.
Yes, we do.
All right, so as we end though, let us just go back to something that we mentioned at the very beginning in terms of the importance. I want you to, because you can't emphasize that enough, just reiterate for us again why it is important to get vaccinated, why it's also important to ensure that you are vaccinated, because some people really not even sure, probably were never told by their parents or they never had any occasion to even find out if they were vaccinated. So just explain the importance of that again and why vaccination is important.
So we say again that it protects your body against diseases, and with all the various diseases going out there are some that we can do nothing about, but fortunately there are those that we can do. So those vaccine preventable ones, the polio, the measles, the diphtheria, the pertussis, the tetanus, we are saying to you, in order to build your immunity, to have your system protected, because a nation's wealth is the health. So the more healthier people you have is a more productive society you are going to have. Because when the child is sick, the mother most probably will not go to work, because a mom will not take her sick child to a daycare and go to work. So this costs the country in terms of economic value. The country is losing money. So we encourage persons that we want to have a healthier Dominica. So get vaccinated. Vaccination has proven to work over the years and it is still working. Now we are seeing the re-emergence of vaccine preventable diseases because of vaccine hesitancy. People are not being vaccinated, so that is why these diseases are coming back. So we are saying to you, get vaccinated, stay protected. So this week, go to your various health centers within the various communities within Dominica and find out what is your immunization status and get vaccinated.
Get vaccinated. Nurse Seraphine, as we end, your closing remarks?
Yes, and I also want to encourage the listening public as well. Yes, we are offering dates that we're going to be at various places. However, if you are still not able to come or attend any one of these sessions, this is why we have different health centers. We have small health centers in each catchment area. It's so that primary health care can be available and accessible to all. So contact your nurse, contact your community health aide, contact the nurse, contact a doctor, contact your FNP, and let them know that you require
and the
a
FNP
vaccine.
is what? Family nurse
The
practitioner.
family nurse practitioner, yes. So let them know that you require such and such vaccines, and we will accommodate you. If it means you would have to come before work in the morning, or if it means you would like to come after work, if it means you want to come on a Saturday, if you want to come on a Sunday, we are accommodating and we accommodate anyone, anytime. Okay?
So when a person comes asked to be vaccinated, that's a smile that person puts on your face, right?
Yes,
Because you
that's
know the
one
importance of
person.
this.
That's one person who will not get a vaccine preventable disease and spread to other persons. So yes.
Yeah. And then some of these diseases are contagious. And then you may not just be protecting yourself. You are not protecting just yourself, in fact.
Yes.
Especially when there's a contagious disease.
They are
You are
very
protecting,
contagious.
people as well.
Such as measles. I'm happy that you brought that up. Measles is very highly contagious because it is from the secretions from our nose and our throat. So if a person who is infected with measles, they cough, they sneeze, they
Talk.
sing, they speak, that virus is spread into the air, and it can stay in the air for up to 2 hours after. So you innocently walking into that area where the person was, you can become infected with measles if you are not protected against measles.
What about the common cold or the flu, influenza? I mean, we have had this for a while now. It's reducing in terms of the number of people who are coming down with this. But how important is vaccination along that line as well?
So we do offer the influenza vaccines. So we do have it, but as well, persons have to remember proper respiratory etiquette as well,
Okay.
because the flu is very easily spread. And we often say to people, you have flu or flu-like symptoms, do not go to work, do not send the children to school and daycare, because this is how it is spread very quickly. Remember to wash our hands with running water and soap, and dispose of your tissue in a closed bin. And so there are a lot of things that we need to do as well to help protect ourselves. Boost up our immune system. Do not wait when you have the flu that you want to go and take vitamin C tablets. Your fresh fruits and your vegetables, these things will help to boost your immune system as well.
Nuska, when I see you with a huge bottle of you always walk with your water, right? That's important.
Always.
So that too is important. Always taking your water. All right. Well, let me thank you. I really learned a lot myself. Let me thank you for coming on the program today and to share with us the importance of vaccination, to let us know what we are doing as part of Vaccination Week. The theme, of course, your decision makes a difference. And we wish you all the best as you continue the education drive, because that is important. It's one thing to have the knowledge, but how you pass it on, that's important. So that's good, that you can educate the people about the importance of this. All the best. Happy Vaccination Week, if I should say something like that. Does that
Thank
sound?
you.
Happy Vaccination Week. Well, to all of us, Vaccination Week, Dominica. And all the best as you continue. So you're going what? Back to work?
No, we have some work stuff, and then later this afternoon we are going to another radio station to sensitize.
Continue the education.
Because we want as many people as possible to know what is going on and to be part of that movement.
Sure. By the way, just give us the dates again where you all are going.
So today, the 28th, there will be a whistle stop from 4 p.m. at Penville. And on the 30th of May, the Roseau Health District will be at the Public Service Union, and on the 3rd of May we will be at the Fonkole Health Center from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. So today, the 28th of April, we will be at Penville. There will be a whistle stop. The 30th, the Roseau Health District will be at the PSU building on Valley Road. And on the 3rd of May, the Fonkole Health Center will be open from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. to accommodate persons. However, all health centers within Dominica during the week will be opened so persons can get vaccinated. And we also will be going out to the daycares, as I said earlier on, and the preschools to have that done.
Okay. Well, Miss Yvonette Anatole Carbon and Miss Seraphi, let me thank you for joining us today. All the best, and you have a lovely day today. Let me just play that song as we end. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right then. That's how we end this morning.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Protect your